Good morning. We're outside the Royal Courts of Justice. The Court of Appeal is hearing the government's attempt to stop the ruling of the Judicial Review that Palestine Action's prescription was unlawful. Is that long enough? Or do you want me to just say this is a really important decision on whether to keep the ban on Palestine Action? And we'll find out in the next 20 minutes, I'm being told. But we're here to also look at what's happening outside the court. You can see the verdict on YouTube if you want to, but we're here to see the people outside the court. There's a Defend Our Juries protest that's already started. You can see people who already got their signs up. Over 3,000 people have already been arrested for, well, there's been 3,000 arrests for Defend Our Juries since their action started last summer. We've got some people who've been arrested a few times here. I think there's some who might even 10 times. We've got people getting married during the action. We've got athletes here. We've got athletes who are about to do a marathon. And the police are keeping a close eye on everyone, making sure that they stay exactly where they are. We've got Quakers, we've got all kinds of people, all mix of people who these would be regarded as terrorists if this prescription continues. I don't really think they look like terrorists to me. I'm sorry, but that's how it is. It seems to me you don't look like terrorists. And we've got a guy there that I recognise there. He's from Wales. Yeah. And Mike's here.
Look how terribly terrifying we are.
We've got lots of camera people here. The mainstream media have turned out today. Yeah.
Tell me they're going to tell the truth.
But it's not live streamed on Sky today, I'm afraid. It's not live streamed on Sky, so yeah. This is we're the best you'll get today, Lee. I'm afraid.
You're awesome. You're awesome.
Yeah.
They couldn't live stream it because they can't lie while live streaming. They can't change our words or manipulate what we say whilst live streaming, can they? So.
Yeah, I just want to say that clip of you from Friday with the mop cleaning the police vehicles was pretty good.
Well, they're filthy. They're absolutely filthy. You know, there's a reason that people call them the filth. And that is because they are filthy. They do the dirty work of corporations that have bought our country. And corporations by nature are sociopathic and psychopathic. They don't understand humanity and they don't care for humanity. And we're here because we are humans and we understand humanity. And we are here together to show that humanity is one love and one people.
I mean, the thing about you, Lee, is you've actually not only been arrested in this country, but you've been arrested and taken into an Israeli jail. Can you tell us about that?
I've been taken to a number of Israeli jails, but Kitziot, when I was with the flotilla, was most definitely the worst. And the worst, not in terms of how I was treated. You know, I was sexually abused, sexually humiliated, beaten. I had my knee dislocated, but more on what we saw and heard them doing to Palestinians. Because they are the most racist country in the world. They're the only country that has ever passed a single law that allows them to hang a single race of people. And this country is stealing taxpayers' money to uphold that racism and that cruelty. The cruelty I saw displayed on Palestinians every time I've been to Palestine as a nurse, every time I've been to their prisons, but in Kitziot was particularly bad because they were purposely setting dogs on Palestinians that they were pulling out of steel boxes in the desert. And the screams that were coming off these people were screams of defiance. They were screams of love. They were screams of people that love their land and love their family. And no matter how much they were tortured, the pitch of their scream didn't change because they were screams of defiance. And we're all here, we all defy, not because we're bad people like mainstream media or our criminal whore of a government wants you to believe. You know, we do what we do because we believe in humanity and we believe in love. This is why we're defiant. We defy because our laws have been sold into corporate law that shouldn't apply to human beings. They've sold moral law. As Zoe Rogers said, this is the death of moral law. So we defy because we love, and we have love for one another.
I mean, what do you think of what happened on Friday with the Filton Four? I mean, obviously you know Ellie. What's your response to what happened there?
Ellie's one of my neighbours and a more gentle and loving soul you'll never wish to meet. She did what she did because she couldn't stand the scenes of children being blown to pieces by these weapons of destruction that are made in this country. And I've seen these weapons in play, and they are horrific. The true terrorists are not the people that break these machines, or the ones that are the brave people that are sat here today holding signs. The true terrorists are the people that make such weapons as drones that cry like babies, and when people come out to see why the babies are crying, they shoot them. The machines that burn children in their beds. Children that I've seen, children I've tried to help. So my response is, if you are locking people up that show that degree of love and that degree of humanity, how have you got so far from any form of moral law? How has humanity gone from the justice system of this country? Because justice is supposed to be based on moral law, and it's supposed to be fair, and it's supposed to have equity. And there is none of that in the way that the Filton 4 are treated, the Filton 25 are being treated, the Bryce Norton 6, the Quayside 3, the Instra 10, the Leicester 6, any of these brave people. You know, what's happening in here today is almost purely academic. You know, they've spent tens of millions of pounds of British taxpayers' money not training new doctors, training new nurses, training new teachers, fixing the roofs on junior schools which are leaking in the rain, and it rains a lot in Britain. But they're spending it to try and crush a name. The name Palestine Action. But Palestine Action is like Palestine. It's a watermelon. The harder they step on it, the more the seeds will spray aside, and the more that we will grow, and the more that dissidents will grow, and the more we will stand up against this industry of murder.
Incredible. You're like everyone appreciate. You're the poet of Palestine Action. You are.
Oh, lovely. Welsh and Arabic are called the language of poets. Welsh and Arabic are called the language of poets, and they truly are. They're lyrical, beautiful languages. Whereas what the right wing of Britain doesn't understand, that it has a multicultural language. English isn't one language. It's a melting pot of all languages, and Britain is a melting pot of all cultures. So when they stand up and they're standing up and attacking their neighbours in the name of Britain and then in the name of patriotism, which is moronicism in its own right, they don't realise that the language that they speak is multicultural. And it has bits of African in it, bits of French, German, Danish, Latin, Arabic especially. There's lots of Arabic in it. So, you know, this country has a multicultural language. It's a multicultural country.
Yeah, it's terrifying what's happening. We saw the Belfast scenes were horrific. Now look at this banner. Look, I think this is.
It's a beautiful thing.
I wonder who did this. Do you know who did this one?
Absolutely no idea, mate. No idea.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's what the police would be. Yes, a good answer for the police. A good answer for the police.
I know nothing.
I was trying to trick you there, see if you'd fall for it, but you knew how to do it.
I know you undercover.
Yeah. Oh well. So look, it's about 5 minutes now till they pontificate, and then they've pontificated. I mean, but they're going to tell everyone what it is. So, well, look, we'll see you in a bit. Yeah.
It's nice to probably meet you, by the way. I'm in Barrels from the Canary.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah, I saw your question. It's brilliant when you said, "What are you all doing here?"
Yeah, I've got an interest.
And they're here again. Yeah, they're all here.
But no, it's nice to probably meet you.
Yeah, cheers.
Sorry.
Okay, so we've not got long till the decision. Shall we go for a little walk around here? Maybe we can just show how many people are here and stuff. I wanted to talk to the Grim Reaper. You may have seen on the interview I had with the Grim Reaper. He was arrested at the last national protest because he was wearing a mask. But let's see. He's got his friend. He's got two. There's two Grim Reapers today. There's two Grim Reapers. Look, we've got two Grim Reapers today. One masked and one without a mask. You're playing it safe, I can tell. He's risking it. Right, so how's it going, Grim number one?
Well, very well actually so far. It's whether or not the police decide, whether or not it's decided for the police by our corrupt government who are corrupted by the Zionist lobby, if I may get that point in. It's whether or not they decide to arrest everyone. Right. I think they probably will. I think also this decision will go against us. In fact, I'm 99% sure, because that's what happened at Woolwich Crown Court on Friday.
And you, Grim, can I call you Grim? Is that right? Yeah, Grim. You were quite active in the Assange campaign. They seem to mess around a lot there with cases, didn't they? Kind of give a bit of hope and then take it away. Is that, do you think, what's happening here?
Yeah, look, they always act strategically. They just try and wear us all down. But Assange, I would say, is probably one of the most wisest and most heroic of people. It was an honour to be fighting with him, and that's what got me into all of these things. And people like him and yourself are on the right side of history, and all these other good people here.
Right. Now, Grim number two. What brought you to Grim up?
I've moved from the line to partner my comrade here, and I'm waiting for the text to come to visit Judge Johnson.
Oh dear.
That'll be some time in the future.
Well, he won't be going through them pearly gates, I can assure you.
And why do the sunglasses? Is that a kind of a move towards a mask, but not quite?
We're just moving to the dark side. You know, it's all to do with the Empire here.
And look, you've got here the Empire. That's your own. Right, you've got individual logos there. Right, we've got Mike. We've got another. We've got the other section. This is the stalls. That's the circle over there. This is the stalls. Should we go and have a look at the stalls? And we've got the. Hi, Angie. Okay, can you talk, or are you waiting? There. How many times have you been holding up signs like this? Do you know?
This is the 11th time.
Number 11. What do you expect from the court? Any expectations?
I have no expectations. I have hopes that we haven't got such a corrupt judiciary that they will do the right thing this time, because what's happening in this country is absolutely disgusting, and what the police are being told to do is also disgusting. So, this is such an important case. It really, really is, and that's why I'm here today.
And there's 5 judges, so it's not like on Friday there was one. We could say he was an eccentric or something. There's 5. So do they have to have a majority, or is it all 5? Do you know what the procedure is?
I don't know what the procedure is. I imagine it's a majority decision of them, and they'll try and be some kind of consensus. But if there's 5 and they're that important, it really is a test of our judiciary's independence. And if they don't rule in our favour against this proscription, it means that we are really in a bad state in this country. And so I hope people take this really, really seriously. It is a test of the independence of our judiciary from the Israeli Zionist state that is putting on so much pressure to our government and on the corporations.
Yeah, the 5 makes it almost. This is if they go along with the government on this, then it shows there's no independence of the judiciary, doesn't it?
That means that people are really going to have to stand up now, because if we don't stand up and fight non-violently as much as we can against these attacks on our democracy and our system and our civilization here, then we really go downhill. Our country has become so toxic, so racist, so disgusting, that we all as people can't wait for politicians, can't wait for anybody. In our own communities, we have to stand up for morality and compassion and do whatever we can. So it is a call out to all people to do what they can in their local communities. Don't wait for the politicians, don't wait for anything. Start working in your communities and building resilience, because the food crisis is coming, and the climate change is coming because they're doing nothing about all of those things. And we're going to have to build self-reliant communities to be able to survive. And we can learn from what's going on in Gaza. Even in the rubble, people there are trying to grow cucumbers and tomatoes, and they're going through the rubble and making their greenhouses and things. They're trying to do whatever they can, and what they're trying to do to feed themselves, we're going to have to do soon, because our governments are taking no notice of the climate change and biodiversity loss.
Right, so it's nearly, I think it is 11 o'clock now, so we're going to find out in a very short time what's happening. So we've got healthcare workers here who we've got some a lot of people here. Hello. Right, we're on the live stream. How are you doing?
Yeah, okay. Very upset about what happened in Woolwich yesterday, and particularly Carol Vincent got attacked.
Oh, you mean in North London?
Yeah,
oh, right.
yeah. No, not Woolwich. Sorry, Edgware.
Right, yeah.
And Carol got really badly attacked. She's all bruised. Her face is all bruised, and the police have taken hold of the Jewish bloc banner. I think as evidence or something, but obviously that's really upsetting for her that she hasn't got the banner, because she loves that banner. It's quite important. And so she was injured, and that was a Zionist who attacked her. A load of Zionists came out of the synagogue and were attacking them. But also, not only that, the police were obviously they obviously only protect a certain sort of Jew, because they were actually wrestling to the ground Jewish men and Jewish people who were protesting, whereas obviously the Zionists were they're all okay. So where we have all this two-tier policing, as they call it, for with the ethnicity situation, and like in Belfast or Southampton, whatever, basically it's terrible. So if you're Jewish but you support Palestine, the police won't protect you. But if you're a Zionist and you live in Golders Green, that they will. I mean, Keir Starmer did a Cobra meeting, didn't he? Called a Cobra meeting after those ambulances were burnt and everything. And yet Jewish men, I've seen on video, being wrestled and it hurt by the police, like 5 policemen on them and everything.
I saw some the footage that I've seen.
Yeah.
So we're going to get in a very short time.
Yeah.
I might just do some film of this.
Okay, Crispin. Oh, it's lovely to see you. Give us a kiss. Go on. You did donate. I always try and donate.
Oh yeah, donate. See.
Because what you do, Crispin, is so important. And Brad and I were saying yesterday, without you, a lot of people wouldn't know half of what's going on. But you are so integral to the cause. You are really important.
Children of Palestine, what of your history deep in your eyes, written in blood as if carved on a tombstone, written in blood and covered in lies, and covered in lies, and covered in lies, and covered in lies.
Brilliant. I think we're going to find out soon, I think. Someone will make a noise, I'm imagining. It's 5 past now. So he's pushing me somewhere. Should we just have a look round here and then... Well, we've got a banner here about the Filton 4 judge. So, are you able to talk about the Filton 4? Would you like to talk about the Filton 4? Who? Would you talk about the Filton 4? Because we're just waiting on this one. I just thought people should hear what do you make of what happened on Friday?
I was very, very angry. On Friday I was sitting like these people here, and I was just thinking about the Filton 4 and the judgment, but earlier in the afternoon the fact that they were arresting peaceful protesters in the knowledge that there's about 2,000 IDF soldiers roaming the streets of Britain, and they do fuck all about them. So Friday I was very angry, but I've come back today
to remind people
remind people of this judge. We couldn't fit all of the miscreants on here. We ran out of space.
I can't believe you can sentence someone for terrorism having not told the jury what the charge was. They weren't convicted of terrorism. So how do you charge someone of it?
And doing a bit of research over the weekend, you find that he was defending the West Midlands Police in the Hillsborough inquiry back in 2016.
Wow.
The West Midlands Police were found to, by the late inquiry, accused of institutional failure over the Hillsborough. So he's probably got a long record of this.
So they knew when they appointed him to do that he'd do the job for them?
I'm sure, yeah.
Now this one's got 5 judges, so you'd think that would make a difference.
One would hope, yeah. I don't know whether it's majority. I presume it has to be a majority.
Someone's saying something. Sorry. Sorry, Like they're reading out what's happened. I'm not sure. I'm trying to find where that is.
I'm trying to discourage people staying too close to the road. People getting clipped.
Oh, I won't go in. I'm just. Is it over here? Hiya. Yeah.
Good.
All right.
You're doing really well.
We got it. Someone's got a broadcast of what's happened.
Do nothing to direct that action to its best effect, and would have no structure to promote and guide its direct action. This lack of information was intentional and consistent with the image of a covert organisation that is cultivated in the Underground Manual. As set out in the Underground Manual, Palestine Action operates through cells of trusted people. The Underground Manual emphasised the importance of covert action. The use of security precautions when communicating between members was encouraged so as to avoid detection. There was advice on how to avoid being identified or arrested and how to destroy incriminating material. There was advice on, quote, smashing stuff, ... with an efficient sledgehammer in your hand, end quote, as something that was very quick and could cause quite a bit of damage. The main target of Palestine Action's activities in the United Kingdom was Elbit Systems UK Limited, but its activities were also directed at any other company or organisation considered by Palestine Action to enable Elbit's business in the United Kingdom. Palestine Action had a wide range of targets, with criminal activities undertaken with no suggestion of restraint or proportionality. This is again reflected in the wording of the Underground Manual, which encouraged readers to be creative and to disrupt, damage or destroy targets without restraint. 3 incidents had been assessed to have resulted in serious damage to property amounting to terrorist action within the meaning of the Terrorism Act 2000, 1 in 2022 and 2 in 2024. The Divisional Court found that these 3 incidents could not safely be regarded as outliers in terms of Palestine Action's activities, either as to scale or extent, the Divisional Court was clear that Palestine Action could not properly be portrayed as a non-violent organisation. It was not accurate to describe it as an ordinary protest group engaged in activities falling within the well-established tradition of peaceful protest. We have agreed that Palestine Action was an organ.
Invest in your preferred currency with eToro. US dollars, euros,
including sledgehammers. It presented a very real risk of injury, not only to property, but also to members of the public. Its campaign was intended to close down the operations of a company pursuing a lawful business. The campaign was not pursued with restraint. The wide range of targets is significant, designed to intimidate the persons and businesses targeted to end their relationships with Elbit. It operated covertly to prevent its operations being known or perpetrators being apprehended. It was not engaged in any exercise of persuasion, or at least not the type of persuasion consistent with democratic values and the rule of law. In reaching the prescription decision, the Home Secretary had the benefit of advice from a cross-departmental prescription review group. Amongst other things, the prescription review group received a report from the Joint Terrorism Analysis Centre and Counter-Terrorism Policing. The Prescription Review Group concluded that Palestine Action committed or participated in acts of terrorism, prepared for terrorism, and promoted or encouraged terrorism. The Prescription Review Group considered the exercise of discretion to prescribe, including additional discretionary factors beyond those identified specifically in the prescription policy. It concluded unanimously that the discretionary considerations weighed in favour of prescription. The Prescription Review Group's recommendation was taken up in a written submission to the Home Secretary dated the 26th of March 2025. A further submission to the Home Secretary dated the 2nd of April 2025, noted that Palestine Action's activity had escalated in seriousness in the previous 18 months. On the 14th of May 2025, it was recorded that the Home Secretary had accepted the recommendation to prescribe Palestine Action and wanted to proceed as soon as possible. The process was, however, paused for further information, which was provided in a further submission dated the 4th of June 2025. That submission reported that since August 2024, Palestine Action had been responsible for 158 direct action events, 28 of which had caused significant damage to property. 159 arrests had been made. Reference was made to coordinated direct action. The further submission repeated the Prescription Review Group's unanimous agreement that Palestine Action was currently concerned in terrorism. It also repeated that, as set out in the advice of the 26th of March 2025, prescription would provide significant benefits to operational partners working to disrupt Palestine Action's activity. On the 20th of June 2025, shortly after an incident earlier in the day when Palestine Action activists broke into RAF Bryce Norton and damaged 2 military planes with spray paint, the Home Secretary confirmed her decision to proscribe Palestine Action, making her written statement to the House of Commons 3 days later. The Bryce Norton incident, whether a terrorist incident or not, clearly played a material part in triggering the Home Secretary's ultimate decision to proceed with proscription at the time when she did and in the terms that she did. There has never been a challenge to the Home Secretary's assessment that Palestine Action was an organisation concerned in terrorism for the purposes of her power to prescribe under Section 3 of the Terrorism Act 2000. The policy ground. On the policy ground, we have concluded that the purpose of the prescription policy was to render transparent some of the non-exhaustive factors that the Home Secretary would consider. The prescription policy is broadly framed. Nothing in its wording indicates that its purpose is to limit or constrain the factors to be considered. On the contrary, the list of factors is expressly non-exhaustive. Further, even if, contrary to our view, the Divisional Court were right to hold that the purpose of the prescription policy was to limit the Home Secretary's discretionary power to prescribe, that would not have prevented the Home Secretary from legitimately considering operational consequences as a relevant factor. Accordingly, in our judgment, the purpose of the prescription policy was not to limit or constrain the discretion of the Home Secretary. The other factors that the Home Secretary was entitled to take into account included the operational benefits of prescription in the particular case that she was considering. The Divisional Court was wrong to consider otherwise and adopted an excessively analytical approach to the interpretation of the prescription policy. Further, in this regard, the Divisional Court was wrong to interpret the term activities in the first listed factor in the prescription policy, namely the nature and scale of the organisation's activities, as meaning activities amounting to terrorism within the meaning of Section 1 of the Terrorism Act 2000. We have therefore allowed the appeal on the policy ground. Proportionality. In this section, we refer to article numbers from the European Convention on Human Rights. We rejected the Home Secretary's appeal against the Divisional Court's refusal to hold that Article 17 prevented Articles 10 and 11 being engaged at all. And we turn then to the question of proportionality, undertaking our own fresh assessment. Article 10 protects the right of free speech, and Article 11 protects freedom of assembly. We undertook that fresh assessment of the proportionality of the Home Secretary's decision to prescribe Palestine Action, first, because Supreme Court authority required us to do so in a case of this significance, and secondly, because the Divisional Court had made its assessment on the wrong basis. Our task was not to take over the function of the primary decision maker. The prescription decision lies in the area of national security, which, before the Human Rights Act 1998, would have been regarded as unsuitable for judicial scrutiny at all. Whilst we were not bound by the Home Secretary's decision on proportionality, we must have regard to and may afford an appropriate measure of respect to the balance of rights and interests struck by the Home Secretary. The measure of respect to be accorded by the Court to the views of the Executive or the Legislature depends on the importance of the right, the degree of interference with that right, and the extent to which the courts are more or less well placed to adjudicate the balance of the various rights and interests engaged on grounds of relative institutional expertise and democratic accountability. The Court is required to attach special weight to the judgments and assessments of a primary decision maker with special institutional competence. The Home Secretary has special constitutional responsibilities and institutional competence when it comes to questions of national security. It is well established that issues of national security are central to the constitutional responsibilities of government. It is the executive government, represented by relevant ministers, which has the democratic authority to take decisions in relation to national security, because it is important that those doing so should be responsible to the public for their effective protection. Equally, the assessment of future risk in the context of national security is preeminently a question of specialist evaluation and a judgment for the executive. Such assessments involve consideration of a broad range of facts and events, and often take account of expert reports based on a range of information, some of which may be secret. The Home Secretary is thus better placed than the court to adjudicate the balance of the various rights and interests engaged in the context of national security. Whilst the court therefore remains the ultimate arbiter, the Home Secretary should be accorded a wide margin of appreciation or respect in making her judgment. In this case, the Divisional Court addressed the question of latitude to the Home Secretary only very briefly, stating that, when striking the balance, the court must permit some latitude to the Home Secretary, given that she has both political and practical responsibility to secure public safety. This materially understated the position, and it is not clear from the judgment of the Divisional Court when and how even that limited degree of latitude was afforded. Further, in the light of our conclusions on the policy ground, and unlike the Divisional Court, we are assessing proportionality, 1, on the basis of an otherwise lawful decision by the Home Secretary, 2, on the basis that the nature and scale of Palestine Action's activities as a whole, not just its acts of terrorism, are relevant, and 3, on the basis that it is open to us to consider the operational benefits of proscription. Adopting this approach, and against this background, we turned to the application of the 4-stage Bank-Melat test. We concluded in relation to the first 3 of those 4 tests that the objectives of the proscription decision were sufficiently important to justify the limitation of fundamental rights, that the proscription decision was rationally connected to these objectives, and that there were no appropriate, less intrusive measures to which the Home Secretary should have resorted as an alternative to proscription. We then turned to our fair balance assessment. In terms of the basic parameters of the balancing exercise, we emphasised the importance of the right to freedom of expression and that civil disobedience has a long and honourable history in this country. One of the fundamental questions for our fresh, fair balance exercise related to the nature of the Palestine Action organisation. Palestine Action characterised itself as a non-violent, direct action protest group, following in the footsteps of the suffragettes and the campaigns against apartheid and the Iraq War. In our judgment, that premise was seriously flawed. It was not a sustainable proposition to portray Palestine Action as a non-violent organisation, and not accurate for Ms. Amori to paint Palestine Action as an ordinary protest group engaged in activities falling within the well-established tradition of peaceful protest. The sentencing sheriff's remarks about one of the 3 terrorist incidents for which Palestine Action was responsible referred to the panic amongst staff who feared for their safety as pyrotechnics and smoke bombs were thrown into the area that they were evacuating. Further, none of the 3 terrorist incidents have been disowned or condemned by Palestine Action. Against that background, we turned to consider the factors weighing in the proportionality balance. Factors weighing in the balance against proscription. We again emphasise the importance of the rights of law-abiding individuals to freedom of speech and freedom of assembly under Articles 10 and 11. The proscription decision entailed a very significant interference with convention rights under both Articles 10 and 11, which should be neither overlooked nor understated. We highlighted, however, that proscription does not prevent continued expressions of support through peaceful protest in support of the Palestinian cause or in opposition to actions undertaken in Gaza by the government of Israel and/or the Israeli Defense Forces. Nor does proscription prevent demonstrations targeted at Elbit, for example. There is a distinction between the expression of an opinion or belief which is supportive of the objectives of an organisation, such as closing down Elbit, for example, and the expression of an opinion or belief which is supportive of the organisation itself. Proscription only prevents the expression of opinion or belief which is supportive of an organisation involved in terrorist activity. So it is important to understand the cohort of people whose Article 10 and 11 rights weigh in the balance. It includes those persons who wish to express pro-Palestinian views, but who may be dissuaded from doing so because of the proscription decision, either for fear of committing an offence under the Terrorism Act 2000 or because of a genuine misunderstanding about what is lawful and what is not. This group of people is likely to be significant in number. It is one thing for people voluntarily to hold up a placard supporting Palestine Action, which they know to be a prescribed organisation. That is a criminal act. It is quite another thing for a law-abiding person to be deterred from assembling lawfully or making their strongly held anti-Israel and pro-Palestinian views public for fear of their actions being construed as support for Palestine Action. We accept that there are many people who may be subject to this chilling effect as a direct result of the proscription decision. In addition, we accepted that there is a group of people who might wish to support Palestine Action as an organisation, separately from supporting its aims. Their rights under Articles 10 and 11 are also affected if Palestine Action is prescribed. We also took into account as factors weighing in the balance against proscription: 1, the limited number of terrorist incidents perpetrated by Palestine Action as compared to its other activities; 2, the submission that proscription may be regarded by some as too heavy-handed; 3, the fact that most organisations that are proscribed or considered for proscription do advocate violence against people as their whose primary objective is to cause damage to property. Factors weighing in the balance in favour of proscription. The factors weighing in favour of proscription are all concerned with the rights of the community relating to the interests of national security and the protection of the rights of third parties under Articles 10.2 and 11.2. We dealt with them under the following headings: 1, the nature of Palestine Action; 2, the level of the threat from Palestine Action; 3, the underground manual; 4, the escalating trajectory of Palestine Action's activities; 5, the damage inflicted on lawful business and key national infrastructure; 6, the key benefit of degrading the organisation and its finances; and 7, allowing an appropriate margin of appreciation to the Home Secretary's decision. The first factor to be considered in favour of proscription was the nature of Palestine Action. As indicated, Palestine Action is not a transparent, non-violent, direct action protest group, as it claims. The whole premise of Palestine Action is to cause damage to property belonging to Elbit and other companies trading lawfully in the United Kingdom. It is a covert organisation that has revealed little about itself in these proceedings. Its activities are carried out by unidentifiable cells whose objective is to avoid detection, as reflected, amongst other things, in the Underground Manual. The future threats and risks posed to third-party individuals and property by Palestine Action were perhaps the most important factors to weigh in the balance. In that connection, it was important to understand that the Home Secretary is in the best position to assess those future threats and risks. She was advised by experts, including specialist anti-terrorist police. Palestine Action's campaign was intended to close down lawful businesses. It took direct criminal action against businesses and institutions, including key national infrastructure and defence firms, providing services and supplies to support Ukraine, NATO, the Five Eyes allies, and the UK defence enterprise. The Proscription Review Group unanimously concluded that all discretionary considerations weighed in favour of proscription, and that Palestine Action was responsible for an escalatory campaign of direct action across the UK that had crossed the threshold into terrorism. Moreover, the Joint Terrorist Analysis Centre's assessment was that over the coming 12 months, Palestine Action would conduct further activity constituting serious property damage in an act of terrorism, and that it continued to conduct direct action at a variety of levels. The submission to the Home Secretary of the 26th of March 2025 recorded that evidence collected through police investigations indicate that Palestine Action members have intended to further escalate the seriousness of their activities. The escalating trajectory of the seriousness of Palestine Action's activities is a theme of the expert assessments provided to the Home Secretary. In our judgment, this was an important feature. It was the Home Secretary's responsibility to protect the public. The final factor to take into account related to the impact and the operational benefits of proscription. The Proscription Review Group thought that prescribing Palestine Action would offer significant disruptive benefits beyond the current policing powers being utilised to deal with its activity. The Proscription Review Group also thought that proscription could impact its recruitment, financial flows, and operating model, and may also support the disruption of its technical and digital security. It is obviously inherently problematic to degrade and disrupt the funding of a secretive cell-based organisation without prescription. We then turned to the margin of appreciation. Whether to prescribe Palestine Action was preeminently a decision that the Home Secretary had to take on the basis of the evidence and the advice of experts available to her. In matters of national security, she was best placed to do so. We looked afresh at all the materials available to the Home Secretary, both closed and open, affording a due margin of appreciation to her own decision. We were satisfied that the prescription decision was a justified and proportionate interference with individual rights. We emphasised that the prescription decision was not merely a judgment based on Palestine Action's past activities. It involved an assessment of future risk to national security if Palestine Action was not prescribed. A pattern of escalating behaviour was obviously highly material. In this context, we noted that the Home Secretary took the ultimate decision to prescribe on the same day as and after the Bryce Norton incident, when Palestine Action activists broke into RAF Bryce Norton and damage 2 military planes. This was a serious incident in evidencing the escalation of Palestine Action's activities, threatening national security and violating the rights of third parties. When the severity of the effects of proscription on the rights of individuals are balanced against the importance of the objectives of protecting national security and the rights and freedoms of others, affording an appropriate margin of appreciation to the Home Secretary's decision, we found that the latter, in this case, outweighed the former. On this basis, having regard to the matters taken into account under the first 3 Bank Melak questions, the impact of proscription on the important Article 10 and 11 rights of individuals on the one hand, and the consequences of non-proscription on national security and the interests of the community on the other, we concluded that the proscription decision struck a fair balance. We therefore allowed the Home Secretary's appeal against the decision of the Divisional Court. The Divisional Court proceeded on the basis of a misinterpretation of the proscription policy. It was mistaken in its approach to the question of proportionality, in particular as to the relevance of future risk assessment and margin of appreciation. We have assessed proportionality afresh. Separately, for the reasons set out in our written judgment, we dismiss Ms. Amori's application for permission to cross-appeal. We recognise that the proscription of an organisation like Palestine Action is highly controversial. We recognise too that Palestine Action is supported by many otherwise law-abiding citizens and that it is engaged in peaceful as well as non-peaceful protest. It is nonetheless a fundamental mistake to overlook the fact that Palestine Action overtly promotes unlawful violence amounting to terrorism. It is not, as it claims, a direct action civil disobedience protest group like the suffragettes operating transparently in the open. It is a covert organisation operating with secret cells to avoid the detection and prosecution of those using violence to destroy the property of third parties. Palestine Action's activities have caused injury as well as property damage. And at no stage has Palestine Action suggested that its terrorist activities were either a mistake or an aberration. Rather, Palestine Action has lauded those who took part. The contents of the Underground Manual provide good evidence of Palestine Action's continuing intention to promote the use of violence, regardless of the risk that this will result in serious damage to property or serious violence against members of the public. Ultimately, we have had to balance the free speech and freedom of assembly rights of individuals against the rights of third parties and the national security of the communities of the UK. We have done so by applying well-established legal principles, allowing the appropriate latitude to the decision that Parliament entrusted the Home Secretary to make. The Home Secretary had both the institutional competence and the democratic accountability to make that decision. The proscription decision was not unlawful. We set aside the quashing order of the 25th of February 2026 made by the Divisional Court. Jeffrey, any corrections? Any corrections? Yes. Clive, any corrections? Yes. We indicated to the parties that we would now invite agreed editorial corrections to be submitted, please, by 11 o'clock on Wednesday, the 17th of June, together with an agreed draft order. To the extent that any matters cannot be agreed, we would invite short written submissions, please, from the parties, again by 11 o'clock on Wednesday, but please do address us if that is not going to give you enough time potentially to deal with any consequential matters.
Fucking shame! Shame! The United Kingdom of Israel!
Is it finished?
somebody else.
Fucking Zionist bootlickers! That's what you are!
Not from Crispin.
This is the time to rise the fuck up, people! No more waving placards! Fuck this shit! We rise! Weapons factory!
I don't really know what's happened. The broadcast has stopped. I think the guy putting it out is going now.
They've upheld it.
Huh?
They've upheld it.
What was that? It didn't sort of finish in a. It said something about Wednesday or
Oh,
something.
Wednesday they can put their. Yeah, Howden Mori
Yeah.
can submit, stuff.
Members of the press, we're just waiting for
hold on.
representation from inside to come out, and then we'll be doing a statement here. So if you want to prepare your cameras here, that's where we'll be. So please gather around here.
Yeah, look. I mean, it looks to me like this has been a stitch up, and it's quite clear the way that she was talking in that submission to the court that they say terrorist organisation equals Palestine Action. It's obviously not what we would regard as a terrorist organisation. She said that the suffragettes, it was nothing like the suffragettes. There's a lot of people are quite stunned at the moment. People don't really know what to say, but we're waiting for someone from inside the court to make a statement.
I need to take a place for the press conference, the position.
Yeah.
Position.
Do you know where it is?
I think here.
All right. Is the press conference here? Right. Okay.
Can you try and find?
Once again, we're just waiting for
Do you want to
representation
go and find
come out
the
from
spot,
the
and
courts,
then
there'll be a brief statement here. So members of the press, if you want to get your cameras ready,
Do you want to go and find
we'll
the
be
spot
just
there?
here under this lamp
Get
post.
Jerry to bring the tripod.
Oh.
Stand in front of everyone.
Shit, they're already starting arresting people as well.
Lot to go.
Friday. Yeah.
You okay?
Excuse me, can I squeeze through? Thank you.
Yes, we did. We were both doing it alternately. Yeah, when they shared it out. I think they will reiterate it. Which is now I'm on the I know, I said that word. Look at that. Yeah. They just have so much power. Over 150 years.
Yeah, I'm going to move in a second as well. I'm going to see if I can speak to anyone before the... Will you talk about what's happened? Just unofficially, not on the press conference?
Yeah, of course.
Because we're waiting for someone to come out, and there's a lot of people watching on a live stream.
Yeah.
What do you make of it? It just sounds like a massive stitch up to me.
Yeah, total stitch up. Total stitch up. I mean, also just, you know, a hugely biased judgment full of like glaring inaccuracies, right? You know, this presentation of the suffragettes as a purely non-violent civil disobedience movement,
right,
of which they were not.
Yeah.
You know, clearly this court would have prescribed the suffragettes.
True, yeah.
Would have carted them all off to prison. Well, I mean, you know.
And the thing that bugged me is they're talking about it wasn't transparent, as if you tell everyone where you're going to do an action before you do it, as if that's somehow really dark, and it's not. It's just you don't want people to disrupt your action. It's not. It's not terrorist, is it? It's just not being stupid.
Yeah.
I can't really get that one as evidence that you're terrorist, that you keep it covert. You know, we're not out in the open, and I don't know. I mean, what you got though is the 5 judges have done it, so it's not one madcap judge, is it? It's 5 of them.
Yeah.
So you must be feeling pretty down about this then.
Yeah. But you know, it's not over. They might still. I mean, I imagine they'll be trying to appeal to the Supreme Court as soon as they can, and people are going to keep fighting. You know, people aren't going to tolerate this. I think they underestimate actually the wisdom and the courage of our movement. I really think they do.
All right. Well, we're being asked to go in front of the camera, but I don't think we should do that until we're just going to hear people while we wait for the press conference. Thank you for your contribution there. Well, I'm walking around. I think. Hey, how you doing?
Okay.
Good.
Nobody's feeling that good, really, are they?
No. What's your? It's a massive stitch up, isn't it?
Yeah, it's hanging judges, you might as well say, like Frank.
By the way, I'm talking to Dee. We're live on the live stream. I'm talking to Dee from Swansea.
But it's the way they said, "Oh, come back Wednesday for corrections and errors." It's like, so there wasn't a definitive moment as to say from this moment on, it's now re-prescribed. So that kind of also takes away that, like, okay, from it's a disempowering thing. It's another tactic of theirs to string it out, isn't it?
Right,
I mean, we know it's gone against.
I couldn't work that one out.
I mean, we know it's gone against us. We know that. It's now prescribed, very clearly a prescribed organisation, which is, I don't know what you'll get out of anyone. It's like.
It was this idea that they're not like the suffragettes, they're really terrorists.
Suffragettes use bombs. Lloyd George's cottage, they blew it up, didn't they?
And the other bit about you can't talk quietly. If you speak to each other quietly about what you're going to do, then that's terrorist. I mean, if you don't go out telling people.
Also, on the Judge Friday said they wore red suits. Gosh.
And they never run away either. I mean, that's the thing, is like you talk to someone who does a Palestine Action activity, and they say, all right, take us in and we'll tell you why we did it. It's not, you wouldn't get terrorists doing that, would you really? They just...
It's just, well, we know it's 100% political. Yeah. It's a Zionist decision on behalf of the Zionists. The Zionists, it's the Zionists have spoken today. That's all we know for sure now. Anyway.
All right, thanks. So we're still waiting on official spokesperson. Do you want to say what you feel about what's happened? Just any comment? No? It's not on camera.
No, I know.
What would you like to say?
Well, it's interesting on a day where America has finally turned against Israel's greater interests that we reconfirm our commitment to the state of Israel in this country. You know, it's interesting because actually the tide is turning, and this government's slave-like commitment to the genocide is kind of out of fashion now, really. And I think this decision would have been an opportunity to signal that, but no, they've doubled down on it, and it's very significant.
I found it quite interesting when they said that these companies supply vital weapons to
legally.
Ukraine and they never
NATO.
mentioned
No.
Israel at all.
No, the illegal lot.
These really important companies.
Yeah.
They supply weapons to Ukraine, the EU.
Yeah, and the thing is, they're Jewish owned as well, so it's anti-Semitic as well.
Not Israel.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I don't really know. I don't know what's happening with the spokesperson or someone. I think someone from in the court's coming. I'm not sure who it is. There's quite a few people here who could talk, though. I'm sure. Have you got your tripod on there? Yeah. Okay. So I'll see if I can find anyone else. Would you like to speak about what you heard?
Oh, it's horrible. Government speak. It just sounded like government speak. It's turning everything upside down. Selling land at the moment, Palestinian land, denying that there's a genocide, has been a genocide, but it's so bloody clear to everyone in the world that, it's despicable, actually. It's horrible that they're weaving their way through a lot of kind of legalistic speak, which isn't really even very clear. Yeah. And in the end, sort of just supporting the government. I mean, I kind of not surprised, because that's how I think this government is working. Behind the scenes, it's doing all sorts of things, appointing judges it can trust, God knows what. It's disgusting, and we have to keep going. We have to keep going. I'm hoping that there's going to be a few, with the people coming out, some element of good news. I don't know. Is there any good news you can think of about this?
No, I can't think of any good news about this, but I think we're in a situation where we're just trying to take in something that's quite difficult.
I know, it is difficult.
I think after a bit, we'll chew it over, I think.
But my reaction at the moment is, I feel devastated. Yeah, I was hoping that there was some kind of possibility that.
I mean, and the thing is, Israel is surely. What more evidence do people need to see that Israel is breaking all kinds of laws, of international laws, committing war crimes? I just don't. I can't see how they can continue. They're getting away with so much that at some point it's got to be
I think so.
a reaction to it.
I think so. It's taking time, and meantime, the suffering is immense. The cruelty and the suffering in Palestine from the Israelis is immense. It's almost too difficult to take in. It's almost too difficult to kind of process. It really is. I mean, that degree of suffering, that degree of cruelty, that degree of criminality is it's just beyond belief. And things are turning. The world is beginning to wake up to it, and so on. We have some very good stalwart supporters internationally trying to sort of, protect Palestinians at the moment, and Lebanese too. We can only hold on to these things and do what we can do here. I've been arrested twice now. I can't be arrested anymore.
Yeah, right. They're holding up the placard.
Yeah, just holding up placard, but my hips don't allow it at the moment.
Right. Well, there's some 11 times and stuff like that.
I know.
I would say that the resistance to Israel in Lebanon and in Iran is a hope of sorts. Iran has not been crushed at all by what was an attempt to overthrow their government. And they're retreating. I think the US and Israel are retreating from Iran, although they're trying to gloss it over. So possibly that's a bit of hope there, really.
I think so. I think that's really hopeful. It's all that's moving. And we know this is a bigger thing anyway. It's not just there. It's the whole nature of imperialism on the verge of kind of collapse. But before collapse, it can get very nasty, and it will get nasty, and it will thrash out. But
do you think we're living in the worst time? If you were like 30 years later, we'd be on the Renaissance or something.
It would be lovely to think that. I won't be around in 30 years' time, I'm afraid. I'm sorry. You may be, but
I don't know if I will. But I think we have to prepare the ground
we do indeed
for the next people, so they can live in a world where we don't have this.
It's like the Native Americans. They think in terms of 8 generations forward, 8 generations back, and not this greed motive of now, just the greed stuff. There is humanity in the world, a massive amount of humanity, and we just need to get rid of the ruling class, basically, who are just in it for the money, in it for their gain.
We have to not be corrupted by their thinking of me, capitalism, with pursuit of more wealth, more land. Israel expresses a pursuit of wealth and land and resources and greed, which we all have to,
I think so.
react against and live a different, create a world that isn't like that.
I worked in Palestine a few times at the Freedom Theatre, and the people there, the Palestinians, are just the most beautiful people you could come across. I mean, they're kind, they're community, they help each other, all sorts of things like that, and they're it's so hurtful to see that they're being eradicated like this whole culture.
Yeah.
Sorry.
What's happening? You worried about the rain? Oh, it started raining, and I think we're going to have. Are you going into the scrum?
Yeah.
Go on then.
Do you
want to take it then? All right, Carlos is going in there now.
Yeah. 47. Yeah.
Sorry, my daughter was like that. It was just like, remember when we were in Palestine, we used to go to parties.
If you ever want to come back, and tell them, you know, that we don't want these business customers. Yeah. So it's really useful to come with all the list that
I just like that, like anonymous comment on
How are we?
There was a part of me that still had
Just thought I'd let you know. I was going to bring one, and then it said it's not going to rain. It's literally at my door. I picked it up. This is going up north. Is it Crispin Flintoff? Sorry. Don't worry. Keep it going.
So we're heading into the dictatorship.
Where is he? Oh, well, thank you. Come up. Yeah, we can do it.
Right. So, right. I'm hearing that the. Do you want me to speak here, Carlos? Here. Right. Hello, everyone. I'm hearing there's been a delay. The solicitors are talking. I don't know. It's all speculation, but there's going to be a delay before someone comes out to speak. I'm not sure exactly why. It's raining now. There's a lot of people here. Do you want to come and talk? Say something? Because we're live streaming, so people are switching off without any content because we're waiting for someone. Did you expect that decision?
Well, we had hoped for the best, but we feared the worst. And so that was very disappointing what came out there. I did listen to it all, very long statement. And I'm not a lawyer, so I can't give a legal commentary on it, but I can pick up on a couple of things that were said. One of them is that the statement was that Elbit was going about their legal activities. I would say that those who are producing equipment to be used in a genocide are not conducting legal activities.
Yeah.
That is illegal under international law and actually under national law, because we are supposed to be taking as a country and as a government actions to prevent genocide going on. And the International Court of Justice has said that there isn't as a plausible risk of genocide, therefore we should be preventing it. So I do not consider that Elbit are conducting legal activities.
There was no mention at all of the international courts at all in that spiel, was there? I didn't hear the reference to the ICJ or ICC at all.
Absolutely. And then the other thing I would pick up on is making reference to the suffragettes and describing the suffragettes as a non-violent organisation. I have a feeling that the presiding judge has her knowledge of the suffragettes based on scenes in Mary Poppins.
Oh.
Because the suffragettes were actually extremely violent, with deliberate violence against persons, bombs, and arson attacks.
Yeah.
And we have not had deliberate violence against persons in what the Palestine Action has done. So I think she actually owes her right to vote to the suffragettes, and is clearly quite ignorant about what they happened.
I thought there was a lot. There was another one that I did mention to other people. Is they said that these companies supplied weapons to NATO. Sorry, to the UN. To Ukraine, Europe, and then they didn't mention Israel at all.
No,
that was just a glaring omission there.
And that is obviously the main reason why this has taken place, which is
because they weren't trying to stop weapons going to Ukraine. I mean, they weren't trying to stop weapons going to Europe. It was clearly about Israel. It was no.
Yes. Well, I'm not a member of Palestine Action, never have been.
No,
but it is quite clear.
You've certainly got to say that.
Yes, but it is quite clear from their actions and their statements that it was the prevention of weapons going to Israel, and it's focused on Israel, and certainly not Jews. And there is what I would like to contradict is this narrative that is sometimes used, that these protests and indeed the actions of Palestine Action were directed at Jews and the safety of Jewish life here in Britain. Now, I'm not Jewish myself, but I am of Jewish descent, and my father had to flee the Holocaust and his family had to flee the Holocaust in Austria and came over here. And we've been keeping a list of those who've been arrested who are Jewish or of Jewish descent. And we know of at least 38 people who are Jewish or of Jewish descent who've been arrested, 15 of whom are descended from Holocaust survivors, and who have 80 arrests between them. And there is absolutely no question that they have felt that these protests have in any way been dangerous to Jews. Far from it. We've been welcomed amongst their number and quite poignantly thanked at times.
There was one other bit that the judge was saying that this prescribing Palestine Action has not stopped people protesting lawfully, but those are being stopped by these campaigns saying they're anti-Jewish or they're anyone who goes on a protest in support of Palestine is being targeted. They're trying to stop the protests, aren't they? So there's a separate thing going on outside of Palestine Action to stop us actually marching in the street in support of them.
Absolutely, and we've noticed this. And again, at the time when marches were being criticised as hate marches and being prevented from marching in the centre of London, that is pro-Palestine marches were being prevented from marching in the centre of London, while right-wing marches were being allowed in the centre of London. At that time, the governments were making all sorts of statements about these hate marches and so on. And a group of 40 descendants of Holocaust survivors wrote an open letter to the Prime Minister and the Home Secretary and the Commissioner of Police, fully refuting that these were in any way dangerous to the safety of Jews. That we and hundreds, if not over 1,000 members of the Jewish bloc of various Jewish organizations have taken part in these marches repeatedly, probably in every single national march. And over in front of the court now, there is the banner of Holocaust survivors and descendants against Gaza genocide, and they've also been on just about every single protest that they've been, and have never had the slightest antagonism in any way or hostility from those who are taking part. If anything, the only time it ever comes is from counter-protesters who clearly resent the fact that Jewish people and those of Jewish descent and those who are descended from Holocaust survivors should be pointing out that Israel is conducting a genocide and war crimes and crimes against humanity.
Well, it's like they're gaslighting us all in different ways. I mean, this is about terrorism, and then the other one's about anti-Semitism. It's sort of like different ways that they can make out that this opposition to the genocide is somehow, immoral. I mean, it's almost like they're turning everything on its head. I mean, we're kind of meant to be immoral for opposing a genocide because one person used a sledgehammer or it's almost like we're being psychologically tortured by this dishonesty all the time, constantly.
Well, we have a duty to oppose genocide. I'm a former military officer. I am appalled that the British Armed Forces have actually been used to support it. I'm not just talking about the export of weapons, I'm talking about the intelligence support and overflights of Gaza at a time when British citizens were being murdered by the Israeli Armed Forces. There were RAF intelligence flights flying over Gaza. That the base in Cyprus at Akrotiri is being used to support this. That we are welcoming Israeli senior officers and the Israeli president to come over and have the red carpet rolled out for them. It is unbelievable that we should be doing this, and it's a scandal, and it's shameful to the country. And there is that well-known book, One Day Everyone Will Always Have Been Against This. And no doubt in years to come, people will claim to have been against it, but they won't have been. And we will look back on this time as a shameful period in our history when instead of standing up for what is right, for which we had sometimes some of a tradition, in the Second World War, British forces liberated a concentration camp at Bergen-Belsen, were horrified what they found. And now British armed forces have been engaged in the support of a genocide. I'm just staggered that this should be allowed to take place.
Yeah. We're still waiting here for people to speak. Hey, look. Come on. Look, I've got... Kessa's here. Kessa, how you doing? All right?
Yes.
Yeah. Look, we're on this camera here. Look, we've got you on camera now.
We're just going to start the press conference in like
Now?
a minute.
All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
so if
All right. So we can't have Kessa for a minute.
we
No.
have Kessa afterwards.
All right.
Is that okay?
All right, Kessa, come. You promise to come after, yeah?
Yes,
All
yes.
right.
The way of the microphone.
All right.
Always in the spotlight.
Okay. Do you want? We're ready for the press conference. We're ready for the press conference. Here you are.
You have to do it.
Huh? I have to hold it.
I got you for it.
You will do it.
I was told I needed to say
To save me? They're still waiting. They're still not here. They're still not here. So you've got to say. You've got to say something. You've got to save me.
I did my duty. I saved you.
You've got to save me.
I tapped you out.
Just for about 10 seconds.
We'll do after. I promise we'll do after. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
Let me just say hi to them.
Yeah.
There we go. We'll do that.
So look, officially the appeal has been upheld. Apparently, we kind of knew that. But
There's the latest one there from Heather.
appeal upheld. Prescription lawful. No right to cross appeal given.
Yep.
Well, wow. There you go.
What we expected, really, isn't it?
Well, we don't know what the response to that is yet, do we? I mean, everyone's just trying to digest what's happened and then.
Well, what is apparent, obviously, if that is the case, is that there are at least 3,000 people that could be convicted now as terrorists.
Yeah, 3,000 terrorists. Wow.
Those people over there, Crispin.
Oh, look, here's Tim. Tim's here. All right. Tim, good to see you.
Yeah, you too, Crispin.
All right, we'll hear from you in a minute, yeah?
Yeah, I guess.
All right. Right, so look, we've got the legal people in here, and Kessa's going to be on after. Yeah, Kessa's coming on.
I was told I just needed to save you from the other.
Oh, okay, don't keep saying it.
Oh, you wanted that. I just asked her and she said to ask you whether to this is fine. But anyway, it doesn't matter. I don't think it matters. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read hers. Yeah. And then I'm just going to say a few words. And then I'm just going to say a few words from me. And I'll make it very distinct. From here on, this is my words. Can I just put the in terms of
Right, okay. I like what you're saying. And the sun's come out when you said that. Yeah. You got the sun's come out. Did you see that? He's like an angel. He just suddenly appeared. I'll never see him again. It'll be like a... Suddenly the sun's come out and the people seem a little bit more chirpy because of the possibility of the Makerfield by-election. I don't know how that's come into it, but let's see. Get get Andy Burnham to deprescribe, shall we? Is that the next one?
So nice to finally meet you.
Andy Burnham.
I'm not going to come in between all of you. After all of this, and we're the other side.
So what, do you want me to hold it like?
Do your thing. You want to film that? No, now. So just leave that lady.
Until Jerry comes back.
Oh, then Jerry will.
He's come.
Right.
Yeah, just say look. And I'll reinforce that when I get. Yeah. I'll reinforce. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll leave you to it and then come over when you're ready. Thanks.
Oh, this is evil lighting. I want it to go nice and smooth. Not on this one, I don't. I've got it on the 70.
Thank you everyone for joining us on this day. We're going to do a short press conference on behalf of Huda Mori, together with Defend Our Juries. We won't be taking questions here, but we'll do individual interviews afterwards. Thank you.
My name is Lisa Minerva Lux. I'm going to be reading out a statement on behalf of Huda Amori, who is the claimant and the co-founder of Palestine Action. And this is her statement. We are surprised by today's judgment after a panel of senior judges on the High Court, including the President of the King's Bench Division, decisively ruled that the government acted unlawfully in prescribing Palestine Action because of the significant interference with the rights of freedom of expression and peaceful assembly. We will fight this all the way. We will seek permission to appeal to the Supreme Court and, if need be, take this to the European Court of Human Rights. And we are confident that we will ultimately succeed, because criminalizing peaceful political protest in this way is a flagrant violation of our fundamental rights and freedoms in Britain, protected in the Human Rights Act, which enshrines the European Convention of Human Rights. We will not stop fighting. We will not stop fighting to overturn one of the most extreme attacks on free speech and the right to protest in modern British history. This unprecedented abuse of power has devastated the lives of thousands of people, while silencing dissent over Israel's slaughter of the Palestinian people during the genocide, when that dissent could not be more urgent. This is the first time in British history that a civil disobedience group has been prescribed as a terrorist organization, placing Palestine Action alongside ISIS and Boko Haram, despite the fact that we do not advocate for violence, and we exist to save lives by disrupting the supply of weapons used by Israel against the Palestinian people. Throughout these proceedings, the government accepted that this prescription was based on property damage, not violence against people. By the government's own logic then, the suffragettes, anti-apartheid activists, and the anti-war direct action groups that Keir Starmer himself once defended as a lawyer could have been labelled terrorists. The British public knows that taking action saves lives and is not terrorism. We were banned because Palestine Action's campaign against Israel's largest weapons manufacturer, Elbit Systems, cost the company millions of pounds in profits and contributed to the loss of lucrative contracts. This prescription has always been about protecting the interests of weapons manufacturers and appeasing pro-Israel lobbying groups, not about countering terrorism. I have been overwhelmed by the extraordinary outpouring of support for Palestine Action since this ban was imposed. More than 3,400 people have been arrested for defying it, risking up to 14 years imprisonment. I have been in awe of the courage shown by thousands of people, from priests and pastors to retired doctors and former magistrates, including many elderly and frail or disabled people, and many who had never protested before, but nevertheless chose to stand up for our rights and for justice for the Palestinian people at immense personal cost. Their futures continue to hang in the balance while this ban remains in force. Every day it continues, this prolongs the injustice suffered by thousands of people, wastes millions of pounds of public money, and places further strain on an already overwhelmed criminal justice system, creating a further backlog in the courts and risking adding to already overflowing prisons. It is clear that thousands of people will continue to defy this absurdly authoritarian ban. And the police have already said that they do not have capacity to arrest everyone who defies it, showing that prescription is simply unsustainable and that ultimately there is too much opposition for it to be enforced. The sentencing of 4 young Palestine Action activists as terrorists, despite them not having been convicted of any terror offence and without the jury being told that they faced terrorism sentencing, is one of the gravest miscarriages of justice to flow from this prescription. They acted to prevent further loss of life by destroying 40 military assets belonging to Elbit Systems, including killer drones used in Israel's massacres in Gaza. We will fight to overturn those sentences. We will continue fighting for every person whose life has been upended by this prescription, for the right to protest war crimes without being criminalized as terrorists, and for the liberation of the Palestinian people who live under constant threat of weapons made on British soil by Elbit Systems, Israel's biggest weapons supplier. I will now read a few words from myself, much shorter, but everything I say from here on is my words, and I finish the statement from Huda Amori. I'd like to just note that there was never a mention from Judge Carr just now about what Elbit Systems does. There was never a mention that they are the Zionist entity's biggest manufacturer of weapons, and the machinery that it produces includes the drones that fly into homes in Palestine through windows and doors to sniper people in their kitchens. That their drones are what is used in the likes of the Flower Massacre. Their drones work in swarms, hundreds of them moving together as one weapon to chase down children, teenagers, adults, and the elderly. Over the past few years, we have seen the limbs of children hanging in shreds from half-standing walls. We've seen fathers carrying plastic bags with their children's approximate body weight in body parts. And direct action was a means for people who could not bear being complicit any longer and could not keep begging the powers that be to become their own decision makers. And I would like to note And I'm sure some of you will remember this, that directly after Proscription there were people who were being arrested for simply having the word Palestine on their sweater. And the prisoners, the Palestine Action prisoners, when they were released, they spoke to us about the fact that in prison, what had become prescribed was Palestine itself. People wearing the colours of the Palestinian flag were rearrested in court and taken for nickings. This is entirely about resistance for Palestine. So while it does affect all of our protest rights, this is significantly to do with the Zionist lobby's role in our judiciary system. And the only reason that the Filton Four have been sentenced as terrorists is because of that foreign interference in our judicial system. Saving lives, surprise, surprise, is not terrorism. It is, quite frankly, the opposite of the definition of terrorism. Destroying 40 drones is not terrorism when those drones were set to be used to slaughter Palestinians. Elbit and this government, however, are actively enabling that genocide. And I will end on the words that Eli Cameo said before being removed from court on Friday after sentencing, which was paraphrasing the Palestinian writer Marwan Mahoul. She said, in order to hear the birds sing, the drones must be silent. And we are going to fight this, and we are going to fight for them to be liberated, because for all of those in Palestine, in Lebanon, in Yemen, and in Iran, we will be damned if we don't silence those drones. Let there be birdsong over Gaza.
Good afternoon, folks. I'm Saeed, a spokesperson for Defend Our Juries and Lift the Ban campaign. Here we are again. I said it last time, I say it now, I'll say it again in the future until we liberate Palestine. Here we are again, stuck in an endless loop of manipulation and lies. And the biggest lie you heard today from inside that court was that Elbit Systems is a lawful company.
Yep.
Elbit Systems, playing a central role in Israel's genocide, is not lawful under international law. It is not lawful under Britain's obligations to the ICJ rulings. It's not even lawful under British domestic laws and their weapons licensing program. But the state thinks they won today because of this ruling. They have not won. In the process of proscription, this state has trashed its reputation internationally, has torn to pieces the fundamentals of democracy in Britain, and at the same time, they thought they were outlawing direct action, but they have created 100 new direct action organizations. This is the best illustration I've ever seen of the phrase, they thought they could bury us, they didn't know we were seeds. Where they had one headache on their hands a year ago, they now have 1,000 headaches on their hands. A new direct action every week. Because direct action and the fight against genocide has never purely been one about the legal process. It's a movement of the people. It's a movement of the people here. It's the movement of your friends and comrades and allies, all of whom share an anger against this genocide, a fury against this state's complicity in genocide, And most importantly, an unending love for the Palestinian people that drives you. What today shows, and what this process shows, as it will take another year, 2 years, 3 years to go to the Supreme Court, to go to the European Court, is that no matter what happens in that building behind you, no matter what the government says in their declarations, no matter what the Home Office says in this country, your fight for Palestinian liberation cannot be crushed. And this direct action movement, all of you participating in the liberation and defense of the Palestinian people, cannot be crushed. So I'll leave you with that word. I will leave you hopefully with the love for Palestine burning in your hearts. And I'll turn it over to Tim Crosland, co-founder of Defend Our Juries. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for being here and for being witness to this crime scene, because that is what this building has become. Because when you suppress opposition to genocide, you make yourself an accessory to genocide, and that is exactly what these judges have done today. This is a shocking moment for anyone who believed we have democratic institutions. It is not acceptable in a democracy to use terrorism laws against people who are obviously not terrorists, who are trying to save lives. That is the hallmark of an autocracy. Saeed put his finger on it a moment ago when he pointed out this judgment is based on a completely false legal premise, that Elbit Systems is a lawful business. Those judges need to go back to law school. It is not lawful to facilitate a genocide at international law. It is not lawful under the International Criminal Court Act 2000, which is a piece of British law. Look up Section 52. Aiding and abetting a genocide. That is so clearly what Elbit are doing. They are not a lawful business. But this is a self-defeating judgment from the state today, because we know that ultimately the prescription will be found to be unlawful, if not by the Supreme Court, probably not by the Supreme Court, because let's face it, the British courts have allowed themselves to be weaponized to suppress opposition to genocide, to preserve the shares for the arms companies, just like for the fossil fuel companies. That is their job, upholding the status quo, upholding power. But this prescription will fall at the European Court of Human Rights, and we know that, because already the Council of Europe has said this is a shocking overreach, it's a shocking violation of international human rights law. So has Volker Turk, UN Human Rights Chief, so has Amnesty, so has anyone with any basic understanding of human rights law. But far more importantly, we will be winning outside court. And today, in many ways, is a great day for the movement. It's a great day for all of us who've been looking for a way to express our horror at what our government does, who before the 5th of July last year didn't know how to express our resistance, didn't know how to send a message. The government must stop using our taxpayer money to fund the slaughter of civilians, to fund the shooting of children, to fund the starvation, the rape of beautiful people in Gaza and the West Bank. But that prescription has given us such an easy way. All we need to do is sit down with our conscience, with our cardboard signs, which say, I oppose genocide, I support Palestine Action, and together our resistance will grow and build, and we will win. Thank you.
As we have been speaking here, there are 100 sign holders just behind you who are currently being arrested for Section 13 of the Terrorism Act 2000. They continue defying the use of the terrorism legislation by this country, and we will continue to do so. Clearly, our silent sign holding has not sent the message clear enough, which I am surprised. 3,400 people have currently been arrested, and 100 more will be today if the police have capacity to do so. More than 1,300 people have been charged with terrorism. Not a single person had pled guilty, because we know we are not guilty of terrorism. We are guilty of having a conscience. We're guilty of standing against genocide. If that is what we are guilty of, say so. Defend our juries will escalate. Follow us online tonight. You will see what we will do next, and come to an open call on Wednesday, 6:30 p.m. and we will tell you how we will escalate against a corrupt state. The people will stand together, and we will not stop until Palestine Action is deprescribed, the Filton 25 are released from prison, the Bryce Norton actionists are released from prison, and every other political prisoner in this country has their charges dropped, has a terrorism connection dropped, and is released. Because they will be vindicated by history, why not do it now? If you're not being arrested today, I ask you to either do police station support or head to the Old Bailey, where the second trial group of the Filton are being heard today. They're facing repression in court. They will face repression afterwards. We need to stand up for them. Show up for the Filton 25, the Bryce Norton, the Moog 4. Show up for the people who are sitting down with their conscience and signs. Thank you. If any press want any separate interviews, we'll do interviews around. You can come and grab any of the spokespeople. Thank you.
Right, so look, we're going to. Are you there? Yeah. Am I too close? That must have been a hideous angle there. What over here? Oh. Is that? Do I look better this way? Look, it's been a pretty depressing morning. The sun's out though, and there's still an air of defiance. And I think we're going to keep going. We're just going to keep going, and I don't think we should be demoralised about this. What are you trying to tell me to do? No. Well, I think we're going to. We're going to look at some of the police over there that are manoeuvring. Zoe, would you speak? We're on a live stream Crispin Flintoff show. I've spoken to your mum. I'll ask your mum if it's all right. I'm only joking.
I can definitely speak to you. Can you take my bag?
Yeah, so it's quite. You kind of expected this in a way, I guess, did you?
Yeah, well, look, the case that I was on, which is the case of the Filton 25, has been used since the beginning to justify prescription, and both rulings, or both appeals have come out directly after outcomes in our two trials.
Right.
So the first time we were all acquitted, and of course the government had to overturn it, but just 3 days later, the courts have decided to overturn it and say that Palestine Action is a terrorist organisation because they've finally got convictions in our case. And the convictions they've got are convictions of criminal damage, but they've applied a terrorism connection, which is the justification that they needed. It's ludicrous. The only way that they can get this through the courts is by lying to juries and by putting judges on cases which are complicit. And that is exactly why people believe that direct action is necessary, because the courts that are supposed to be just in this country are the ones that have allowed the export licenses to Israel to stand.
Yeah.
So
I was just thinking it's like a psychological torture, the kind of mind games they're playing in order to push through the continued export of weapons to Israel and the support in this genocide. And they're making out that this is terrorism, it's not like the suffragettes, all this. I mean, hold on a minute, what are you saying? It's too much, too many lies, I can't keep up with it. And then in the Filton, the judge on Friday, the whole thing was a massive gaslighting enterprise. The whole thing is about mental torture, trying to make us think that what's black is white and what's white is black.
yeah, well, this is what terrorism law has always been about. Sorry, someone's calling me. I mean, it was brought into effect because of the Irish, a legitimate freedom movement, and it's now being used against Palestinians and their legitimate freedom movement. We can't stand for this. We have to continue to stand up, not just for the Palestinians, but against terrorism legislation in this country, which is a massive abuse of human rights.
Yeah, and the whole terrorism act is shown up as a joke. I mean, the fact you can put up a piece of paper and you're a terrorist is mad.
Yeah. I mean, it just exposes what a joke it is. Terrorism is a political label. It's not a label in fact, and it changes depending on which country you're in. We need to abolish the Terrorism Act and let simple criminal law deal with any so-called terrorist acts. That's been in place for years and years. The Terrorism Act was actually introduced quite recently in the scheme of things, and we need to get rid of it, really.
Yeah. And we've got someone else speaking. I don't know. I don't know. It's hard to. I can hardly hear anything. But look, thank you for speaking. I heard from you before. I mean, I was so upset by what happened on Friday. You must be feeling terrible. I mean, I hope you don't feel guilty that it wasn't you or all that kind of thing. That's a normal feeling, isn't it? But it's good that you're out so you can tell people what's going on. I mean, you've got a brilliant story to tell about the injustice of the system. So, you know,
we'll continue to fight it. It's not over, and we are going to win.
Yeah, we'll do it. We'll work on it together. I'll keep going this way, and you go that way. And look, there's Kessa's over there, and she's trying to get away from talking for. Look, she's even gone on. She's on a fake phone call. It's not a real call. It's a fake call. She's trying to pretend. Look, Kessa's trying to pretend she's on the phone to not talk. So how are you? You're still smiling and stuff.
Of course.
So because the thing is, like, I spoke to a journalist in Gaza last week, and he's had most of his family have been killed, and he was smiling and showing that the spirit, you got to have a spirit to get through this amount of gaslighting, dishonesty, injustice. I mean, and you've been in prison for months and months and months, and you've come out and you're still shining through. You know, the sun's come out and everything. You mean, what is it about the spirit? What keeps you going?
The thing is, there's two things. The first thing is that the second we decided that we are going to stand for Palestinian liberation, we knew what to expect by looking and studying the Palestinians themselves. We knew that it would entail sacrifice, that it would entail loss, it would entail being condemned as terrorists, it would entail losing our freedoms or this facade of freedom. It would entail abuse at the hands of the state, agents of the state, the police and the prison guards. We already knew all these things because we studied the Palestinian cause and we know what path we chose. We chose the path of liberation. And the second thing we know is that victory is promised. And because of that, we can stay firm on this path. We're not surprised that Palestine Action is still prescribed as a terrorist organisation. We're not prescribed that we got sentenced. We're not surprised that we got sentenced and sent back to prison. We're not surprised that we got in prison in the first place. We're not surprised that we had to starve for our most basic rights. If we were surprised, it means that we were not looking to the Palestinians as our compass and not understanding what this path entails. This is a very, very long path, but a path that certainly, with absolute certainty, ends in victory and ends in liberation. And that means we stand firm on it and bear every sacrifice and every loss with pride and with certainty in that destiny, in the destiny of victory and liberation and of freedom. And that's why we choose this path again and again and again. We will always choose this path. And so yes, saving lives is going to send us back to ourselves, and saving lives is going to condemn us as terrorists, and saving lives is going to get us brutalized at the hands of the police and the state. But we know this, and we chose this path, and it hurts, of course it hurts. But what gets us through that pain and straightens our backs and raises our heads and makes our feet firm is the fact that we believe in victory, we believe in resistance, we believe in the means of resistance, and we believe that we will win, to be honest. That's it.
I think you should end the broadcast there, because I can't think of anything better to say. You've said more than
Can I just add quote, Sakina?
You can say, yeah.
In the words of the mother of the prisoner, the honoured prisoner, Fatima Zainab Rijwani, Sakina, her mother said, if saving lives is terrorism, then so be it. And that's what we tell this state. You can condemn us all you want. We never waited for your permission or your legitimacy, and we will never wait for it, and we will not stop just because you condemn us. That's all. I wanted to honour her words.
I think we're going to end the live stream there on your note there. I got you at the end. You can go back on your fake phone call now.
But yeah, thank you, Crispin. It was good to see you guys as always.
Yeah, we're going to end the live stream there. So thank you for logging in, whatever you call it. Logging in, what do you call it? Tuning in, typing in the whatever you do, googling it, finding it. And if you want to subscribe, you can do that. Or that is it a thumb up thing?
Yes,
yeah.
like, subscribe,
like,
follow,
yeah,
repost.
Follow, yeah. And if you can donate, put some donation in. It costs a bit of money to get Carlos out. But anyway, all right. So bye bye for now.